What's up, my guy? Chilling? Yeah, you can put that there.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the page. Today I'm doing a skin blowout on one of my clients. As you can see, I'm starting with the zero line with the trimmers, making that hard, crispy line, and then I'll be following up with the balders to make it very crispy. This step makes the blend very crispy. Without the balders, it's not gonna be as crispy. So next I'm using what I call the true half to make that second line in order to blend it out. I like to make that line and then I come down and gradually close the clipper in order to take that bottom line out. I like to put this line in first. Usually I do it with the 1, but he has a 1, so I did it with the half. I like to put it right there so I know not to go higher than that. I know that that's my stopping point. I can't go any higher than that. If I go higher than that, I'm raising up the fade. So I put the 1 guard back on just to show you guys that it's a true 1, because I thought I was recording when I was like debulking because his hair was longer and I put the 1 on, but I just did this so you guys could see that is an actual 1. I'm going to be grabbing my half guard now, open, going into the closed 1, and I'm doing this pretty much the same thing. I'm closing while I'm going down with it to take out that bottom line eventually. Going over pretty much the same section again and again because his hair is that type of hair where you gotta, keep going over it. I'll go open, then close, and open and close. I'm just messing with it, trying to get it to blend a little more. And then I'll come back with the true half guard and take that line out and also, detail the rest of that part. Now I'm grabbing my trimmers and giving it that pop that it needs, that line up. That joint gonna be crispy, once I line it up. Sometimes, if you're struggling with the fade and you're like stuck in one spot, just like let it go for a little bit, don't get stuck on that spot. Keep going, go line it up, do something else and come back to it, because sometimes your eyes will play tricks on you. So you gotta like leave the area and then come back and then you'll get it down packed. When I first started, I used to do that. I'd be, raking the same spot, and I'll be, man, with a headache, sweating and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, sometimes when you come back, it's better, because you could get your eyes off of it, and you line it up so it makes more sense now, and then you could figure out what you're gonna do and make it better. That's what I like to do, because I'm not trying to be stuck there for 3 hours trying to figure out, you know what I'm saying? So move on and come back later. So right here, I would usually not even like do this to the beard, because he said it leave it as wide as possible. But I just cleaned it up a little bit. I'll usually just go with my razor and just lightly tap the top of his beard. That way, it could be as full as possible, because he doesn't want to cut nothing. Like, he doesn't want to lower it at all. And here I'm doing my process again. I did skip a step. I left the balders for last, which is cool. But, if you're beginning, man, I would advise you to just do this process to where you start with the trimmer, and then you bring the balder right under that, so not to go so high up, that way you won't create a line. And then start with this this half, the true half, and it'll be easier, because I used to mess up like that too with the balders. Like, I would always make a hard line because I don't even know where I'm flaking out at and stuff, but it makes it easier with this process. So one thing I always do is look in the mirror. I'm always looking in the mirror, because the mirror never lies. I see dudes all the time, man. They don't look at the mirror at all. And it's like, it might look a certain way in your eyes, but if you put it in the mirror, I could show you everything that's off with the haircut that you might have not seen with your eyes. If you got lighting and you got a mirror, it's the perfect way to realize, any mistakes, any lines, anything you got to touch up. That's the perfect way to do it. You got to look in the mirror. That's what I was always taught. Look in the mirror, and the mirror never lies.
Cut this up, boy. Hey, look at that. Medium fella. What dog?
At least. Yeah. I was at like 178, bro. I'm at 158.
Hey, this might sound funny, but I always check, the nose to see if you got some hairs, poking out. Nobody wants to walk around with those big old hairs poking out. This happens to me too. My nose hairs be poking out like they ready to jump out. So, I tend to cut that off, because, it's nasty. If you got a clean cut and you got your nose hairs all poking out, come on now. They're going to be like, man, don't ever go back to that barber. You know what I'm saying?
I'm put these on you, or you break out?
I'm good with that. No.
You good? You don't want it? Okay. Just had to ask.
No, that's why sometimes I'll take it sometimes.
So I'm going to always ask the client if they like the balders, because sometimes they don't want the balders, you know, like he gets the balders sometimes and sometimes he doesn't. It's just, you know, sometimes people break out, sometimes people don't want to use the balders because it's too close and, you know, they get irritated or whatever. So I always ask, especially when it's a new client.
How we looking, bro? Good? Spray you alcohol? Yeah. Gotcha. Let me clean your neck up.
All right, guys, this is the finishing product. I'm gonna spray him with some alcohol, dust him off, and send him on his way. My boy is back in the game, ready, Freddy, man.
Appreciate you, bro. Be safe.